Doing great, man. I am so excited for tonight. We have the two undefeated teams in Group A here at Vanquisher. A personal favorite of ours, TMG Death Knights. We've gotten to cast them a couple of different times. And then Akuma Sabers, one of the big favorites to kind of win out this group going into playoffs. So I am super excited to see these kind of titans, no pun intended, going into this match tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this should be a banger, right? This, like, theoretically, I don't know mathematically if this is true, but theoretically, this should decide seeding going into playoffs,
Yeah.
right? Whoever wins this would probably end up being the first seed, assuming they don't randomly lose next week.
Lose out, yeah.
So it's exciting, and it's quite important, right, for seeding, and I think also just sort of for pride and for showing, like, for power ranking's sake, like, who is the number one going into playoffs, right? What is the strongest team in this group that is a very strong group?
Absolutely. And I think I'm really excited to see, we talked about it in week one, Crushing Rock and Mitsuki. One of the, we kind of talked about their performance last split and, how they kind of proved themselves to be very good. And they only got better. And we've continued to see that. I think you looked at the stats before the game. I mean, they are leading in kills per game and assists per game, leading the league. So I'm just very excited to see that. And then Scootin, somebody who I'm familiar with, getting to see them play, Rathia and Data. It's going to be a great game. I'm with you. I am so excited to see where this ends up. And like you said, not only bragging rights, but power rankings and kind of that pride going into playoffs for who's going to lead the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And right, getting information for each team on how the other team plays for potential rematches further on in the playoffs, right, could be really important because both of these teams are looking to make a really deep run into playoffs. They're both so strong at beating everybody else in the division. Like, these teams are your front runners going into playoffs. So getting even a little bit of information on the other team on how they play could be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree. And I think we'll be pretty excited with draft tonight. I've done a little bit of research. There's some interesting picks, some AP bot lanes, some Zyra specials, depending on how bans go. I think there's some cool things that could happen in draft. Obviously, we love to see game threes. We love to see the depth that teams go to as we get into more fearless. Playoffs going to be a very exciting time. Best of fives, fearless draft. I know every time we get to see a game three, we do get to kind of see what different things the teams have and can get pulled out. I think also as the meta has evolved, not only for League itself, but also kind of in Vanquisher, it'll be interesting to see if teams continue to hold the bans or they start kind of shifting away from these picks that may have been priority in week one, but have kind of fallen out of favor as the league has gone on.
Speaking, I believe, specifically about Skarner, that Leslie and I were talking about that off stream, how we feel that the pick has fallen off a little bit later in the season. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I also think in draft, like, what'll be interesting to see is I feel at least that both of these teams, but especially TMGD that we've seen a bunch, can play through any lane as a carry, right? Like, we've seen every single member of this team carry. Like, neither of these teams has what I would call role players, right? Like someone who is just there for tank duty or just there to engage and sit back and whatever. Like, both of these teams are full of players who can carry. And so I think that's really interesting when you're going into a draft, seeing like, oh, are we picking carry picks up top, or is it a tank fest, right? How are we prioritizing mid laners? Are we looking for playmaking like Ari, or are we looking for like hard carries?
Absolutely. And I think, a matchup that I really want to keep an eye on tonight is going to be that matchup between FYS and Stone Cold. Stone Cold has been such a huge playmaker and a huge kind of focal point for Akuma Sabers in some of their games coming forward. He's been a big part of that team. And FYS kind of coming out as a completely different type of mid laner this split. He's played in the Immortal League before, kind of known for more of that supportive style. And he's come out and put on some real carry performances as the season has progressed. So I'm very excited to see that matchup and kind of where that's headed. So let's see what we get in here with draft. TMG Death Knight's going to go ahead and start off on that blue side. Pantheon going to be that first ban. That is a Scootin special. He does play quite a lot of Pantheon in solo queue, one of his favorites. Ambessa going to be knocked out. Of course, we do know Night Ravens loves to play those like fighting, Ambessa, Jax, Camille type of top laners. So pretty standard targeted bans so far.
Yeah, what we've seen a lot in this league specifically is jungle bans. Like, I feel like the jungle pool is often quite pinched, and especially engaged junglers. So I think Pantheon Vi, great takeaways already. We see the Syndra coming out here as well. Control Mage has also been quite strong alongside engaged junglers. So, and best of Syndra bans, I think makes sense. And a Maokai ban, banning some of the flexes, right? Some of those jungle support flexes from TMGD's bans.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we discussed, Garner didn't make the cut. People have caught on. It may not be that good anymore, guys. We're just saying. So yeah, excited to see what TMG, I mean, what are they going to prioritize for this B1? Something I want to note, Hwei is still up. They are going to focus on this Xin Zhao, really prioritizing that aggressive, very proactive, engaged style jungler for Homura.
Yeah, that I believe we saw Homura have a really incredible game on last week on the Xin Zhao specifically. And there it is, the Hwei as a response for Stone Cold from Akuma Sabers. Yeah,
that's a very interesting thing to leave open for me. I'm curious if they have a plan going into this. I think if you're going to B1 this Xin Zhao, you've got to have a plan to play to the Hwei leaving it up. So I'm very curious to see what FYS wants to choose going into this.
That's a Wukong there for scooting in the jungle. At least I would assume it's going in the jungle. I guess it theoretically could play top lane, but realistically it won't. As Aurora coming in for FYS. That is more of a flex pick. Aurora could go into the top lane. I don't think we've seen it yet in Vanquisher League, but we have seen FYS play it. We've seen him have great performances on it. He's really great at finding flanks, at making team fights chaotic, and then coming in there over the top, crushing Rock, who has a great Varus we saw last week.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the cool things about Varus is it's a great blind pick. It doesn't have a lot of bad matchups. It goes even in a lot of lanes. You have some utility and build paths and some diversity that allows you have that lethality, you have that DPS build, you can go on hit. You have that occasional AP build, not saying it's good, but it does exist. So it is interesting to see, Akuma gonna go ahead and looks like they're continuing to pinch out some of these top lane picks. We have Gwen, Jax, and Bessa. They are gonna go ahead and see that Cho'Gath ban. Kluchunga is going to be one of those big Cho'Gath one-trick players. He loves that champion. So not too surprised to see that being taken away. And again, Camille, we see that. I mean, they're just kind of really questioning, all right, Night Raven, what is your pool going to look like? It's going to take away all of your big fighting champs that you are comfortable on. What are you going to show us?
Yeah, kind of incredible to go red side and ban 4 top laners.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Like, I just think that speaks something to how they are seeing this matchup. Oh, there we go, and a blind K'Sante saving counterpick for support. Maybe that's just saying, hey, we've pitched the top lane pool so much that K'Sante is uncounterable.
Yeah,
right?
could
there's
be.
Nothing we can do to K'Sante.
Yeah, and I think K'Sante is a pretty safe pick here. Fiora, not something we have seen him play this split, I believe. So very exciting. Does continue to fit that theme. I don't remember seeing a lot of games on this from Night Raven, so excited to see him pull this out. And then got to go ahead and round off that comp there with Nautilus on the support role. Yeah, we did see the Lulu ban as the final ban. Of course, Lulu Jinx being one of those classic scaling bot lane combos. Removing that additional safety. So Braum, the counter engage, going to be the final pick here for Akuma Esports. I have to say, as much as I'm a fan of TMG Death Knights, I think Akuma Esports, I really like their draft. I really like this front-to-back team size. We have 2 big carries, in Jinx and Hwei. We have the ability to play front-to-back. We have some good counter-engage options with, of course, Braum being his kind of namesake, as well as K'Sante having those options too. And then, of course, you still have a little bit of pressure. Cyclone, one of those big engage options you have with Wukong. And then looking towards the side of TMG, a little bit more solo lane, side lane focused, right? You've got Aurora and Fiora, one of those 2 big, side lane threats as the game goes on. Of course, creates great options for drawing pressure and split pushing. But that tends to be something, looking at this league and looking at a lot of the games, so many team fights, so many fights around objectives. We haven't seen a lot of teams able to pull off that split pushing style and be successful with it. So ease of execution, I think Akuma, obviously there's a lot of power on TMG side, especially in those side lanes if they can get ahead. But it'll be interesting to see kind of how it shakes out as the game goes on.
No, I completely agree. I think that I also value Akuma Sabers team comp a little higher than TMGD's, but I will say that the pressure for TMG is on Night Ravens and Homura. Right? Night Ravens needs to get ahead. He needs to be winning in the split push, and he needs to be actually getting advantages in the split push, like picking up towers, forcing trades on objectives, right? If you guys are going to fight for Dragon, I'm taking a tier 2, that sort of thing. And we also, I think, in team fights, the pressure is on Homura to create space for his team. His top laner will not be able to do that. Night Ravens is like, hopefully going to try and flank and maybe pick someone off, but Fiora is not great at making space in those team fights, so it's kind of all down to the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we do have a little bit of pick potential, obviously, between Worlds and, Chains of Corruption, Nautilus. I mean, there is a little bit of pick potential there if somebody gets caught out, but I have to agree with you. I mean, Homura's ability to create space on that Xin Zhao is going to be paramount to them winning any team fight that they do try to take. So we'll ask the question before we get into draft here. If you had to pick going in, who are you going to give the edge to in draft here?
I'm giving it to Akuma Sabers. I think I agree with you. I think the front-to-back team fighting is just very important in this season of League of Legends, right? In season 2025. I like the Wukong pick. I like the Hui pick. Big fan of Braum. And I feel similarly, I don't know if anyone watches Meteos, I feel very similarly to Meteos about Braum, which is that if you're picking that, you really want to win. And I just think the pressure is on TMGD this game. And Akuma can kind of sit back, scale up, and win.
No, I have to agree. I want to give the edge to Akuma. I do tend to lean towards liking those style of drafts, a little more front to back, a little more scaling. Again, not, just saying, hey, as the time goes on, our team fight's going to be really good, and we're gonna pick a fight with you around an objective, and that's how we're going to try to play the game. Versus, like you said, the side of TMG, they've got to get an advantage in this side, and that should come from Night Ravens on the top side. Something to point out, Night Ravens has quite a few First Bloods in this league. He is one of the leading members for First Bloods, solo kills. I mean, so if anybody's going to do it, I think Night Ravens is probably somebody to bet your money on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's the king of solo kills, too. We've seen it time and time again. Night Ravens, getting 3-4 solo kills inside lanes in a game. So, if anyone can do it, I trust Night Ravens to do it. I just think that there's pressure on it, and you're facing against a team that is better, to be quite honest, than the teams you have been playing, and will hold you to a higher standard, right? You will not be able to get away with the same things you've been getting away with against the lower tier teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that is a good thing to bring up. There's that mental aspect of knowing, hey, this is the toughest competition we faced yet. Likely the person who wins out here, they're going to have a good shot at, like you said, they're going to be the first seed coming out of Group A, and they're going to have a really great shot at looking to chase that championship and chase down that, that winner, the best team in the Vanquisher League. And that starts kind of today. I mean, this is where you really separate, who's going to lead us out, who is going to go challenge the first seeds from, B group and C group and really define on who's going to end up winning the league. So I'm really excited to kind of get into this. I think there's a lot of cool things, we can talk about. Obviously, we'll get some focus on this topside matchup. And really, for me, it's going to be Scootin' and Homura. Obviously, Wukong, a little more traditional of I'm going to farm, I'm going to full clear, I'm going to keep doing that till I can hit level 6, try to make an impact in lanes. Versus the side of Xin Zhao, who says, I'm going to hit level 3, sometimes level 2, and I'm going to see if I can make an impact immediately. So definitely a little bit of different styles there as far as, how they want to impact the map. But very excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, and here we go. We are hopping onto the Rift for game number 1 of TMG Death Knights versus Akuma Sabers, your Group A first seed matchup. Let's get into it.
Yeah, very exciting here, and it is interesting to see. Looks like we do have a little bit of an invade coming in here from the side of TMGD. Just getting a little vision down, nothing crazy happening. Mitsuki stepping up here. Looks like he is going to walk around. Looks like he's just going to go ahead and get that ward in. Something to note, Akuma just doing a safe, 5-point, just really trying to piece out where they're going to be, make sure nobody gets that invade going. And again, we'll be curious to see where Scootin' and Homura both decide to start. If you're them, which laner you really want to play for each team?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I think if I'm Homura, I might try to path top to bot. I mean, I do think that Varus and Nautilus will have better skirmishing power in the early levels than the Fiora will, and so maybe pathing down to try and take advantage of that early power is good. But I can see it either way. As we see, both junglers are pathing top to bot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is one of those that the top matchup, if you're really relying on Night Ravens to kind of eke out this win there, the Fiora is a slightly favored matchup, of course. It's not quite as good as I think everybody gives it credit for, especially in the early levels. K'Sante is able to fight back quite well. But as the game goes on, obviously it gets worse and worse. But I think if you expect Night Ravens to kind of hold up on this matchup, the best thing you can do is isolate, right? You say, hey, I'm going to let you take care of this by yourself. As you look here, Night Ravens already making 2 huge trades on Clue. He's got him at half HP. Of course, Clue having to deal with the Fiora minigame, as most of us call it, with that passive stack there. We do see the level 2 Crushing Rock and Mitsuki going to have pushing power on this bot side. But like I said, if you're them, you want to isolate this matchup. You expect Night Ravens to win. You want him to be allowed to do that. I think matching that jungle pressure is a great way to do that. And of course, I think if you're the side of TMG, the last thing you want is for Jinx to get ahead. So making yourself present and allowing yourself to be there for this bot side is again a great choice.
Totally, and I also think that Fiora, a champion with like very low gank setup, right, gets a lot of pressure in the solo and proccing those vitals. We already see taking Jungus down to like half HP for nothing, right, for completely free. But he doesn't really have any way to set up ganks on the Fiora. No CC. Other than the W, the riposte, but like that's not really going to work as gank setup theoretically, so not much that Xin Zhao can really do to pressure the top lane further than Fiora is, so just going to pat down. See, both junglers have made their way down to the bot side now. Wukong clearing out his romp as Xin Zhao takes the red buff. Bot lane fairly even, actually barely any even trading up until this point.
Yeah. Looks like we are going to get this Protoss Akuma, we both said it. Their draft score, and I think a lot of that just has to do with the ease of execution as the game goes on. Like we talked about this, you said it in draft, is the pressure's on TMG. Like they're the ones who really have to go ahead and kind of push the tempo of this game and have correct decision making and good macro as the game goes on to be successful. It looks like Crushing Rock Mitsuki gonna have that full priority in the bot side. Something that Mitsuki's been praised on as this league has gone on, is his ability to help get pushed in the bot lane and then rotate around the map, and not necessarily always making plays, but just able to get vision down for his team. So I'm kind of excited to see him continue that trend as this game goes on.
Yeah, I completely agree. As we take a look at items here, K'Sante walking back into lane with 2 cloth armors. Didn't have to use any potions as there was no real kill pressure from Night Ravens there, as we see FYS taking a big chunk in the mid lane. Both junglers are here, more dashing into Scootin, but Scootin just gonna get out of there. He's tagged by the W. Everyone gonna walk out. Wukong is up about a camp, I believe, over Xin Zhao, but CS in all of the lanes, relatively even, if a little TMG favored.
Yeah, and we should see that even up here as Homura gets on this crab. I think obviously there's a moment there where there's a point in the game where Hui, for now, obviously being low on mana, but having that range advantage, the ability to kind of go through the wave, the ability to. We have a little bit of an engage here going on here on the bot side.
Yeah, hook in from Miski, but gets stunned up by the Braum passive, now slowed down by the Zap. Rathu trying to kite forwards, do a little bit more damage. The Crushing Eye hits the piercing arrow. Trade wins slightly for TMGD, but relatively even across the board. Mitsuki taking a lot of damage as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that trade ends up fairly even, but that piercing arrow kind of being very relevant to get this in. Oh, Homura getting the knocked up on Scootin. Maybe unaware of Stone Cold.
Lightning. Oh, Night Ravens is here from around the back, gets in with the lunge. First blood to Homura. The top side for TMGD is putting in the work we requested.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we were talking about, and I think that's the isolated 1v1 between Fiora and K'Sante. He's been able to push forward and get that priority, allows him to make that move, and Clue's stuck in the top lane catching the wave. So great heads up play, great decision making there from Night Ravens. Really excited to see for that first play.
Yeah, I love it. If there's something that TMGD is good at, and they've been good at all season, it's pushing and moving, whether from the mid lane or from the top lane. We see it more from FYS, but Night Raven's doing it here. Great pushing in his wave, moves down around in the jungle. Scootin seemed caught kind of unawares, was taking a trade against Homura, and then just gets caught out by the Fiora. Unfortunately, the kill did go to the Xin Zhao, but not the worst target. You would have slightly preferred it on Fiora, but not the end of the world.
No, absolutely. I mean, it helps push the tempo, and like you said, if they do get into any team fights here, yeah, missing that cannon, unfortunately, from FYS in the mid lane. Got to call that out.
Okay. He's up like 15 CS, so you can miss it.
Yeah, you can afford to miss it, right? We are going to see the traditional, I guess, objective swap. Grubs for first dragon. It tends to be pretty normal. I mean, I think if you're the side of TMG, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Looks like Scootin might be scared off, afraid of this rotation from Mitsuki when his bot lane is so far behind. Although I think they're just going to go ahead and restart this dragon up as they catch up. But I think if you're the side of TMG, getting those grubs, I would almost say is a little bit more of a priority from this dragon. You really want to give your any extra pushing power that you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to call a little attention to a little patch notes item as we see double symbiotic souls in the mid lane. Both mid laners going for it, get those empowered recalls off, just looking for more tempo around the map. As we'll see, actually, we can talk about that later. TMGD is going to contest this Mountain Drake. They already took the grubs. They're coming down here for a fight. Scootin forced to flash over the wall immediately. The bot lane pushes it in. They get up. Hamura was behind them off of vision. Really good play from TMGD. We'll see Akuma Sabers trying to recontest here. Both junglers have smite. It's going to be a 50-50 on him. Scootin taking real low. Does take the dragon, but is slain by FYS immediately after Mitsuki getting out real low. Ratu taking low as well. Forced to flash the wall. Hamura low. Everybody low running out of this fight, but it is 2 kills to 0 in favor of TMGD, but the Drake goes to Akuma.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, Mitsuki able to kind of scare Scootin off that objective trade and allowing them even a chance to contest there. Of course, a great smite contest there by Scootin, giving his life for the dragon. Not the worst in the world, something to point out that is one so close with his feats of strength. We've seen these boots become more and more relevant as the time goes on. Like you said, Tasha, Symbiotic Souls getting some improvement here, and we've seen an uptick in the power of those. That extra tempo becoming more and more valuable to players as the season goes.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate what you said. A huge shout out to Mitsuki for that play, right? Pushing Scootin off the Drake the first time, allowing the team time to come down and contest. It's rare that we actually see a contest of the first neutral objective in the game, but TMGD saying, hey, we feel stronger at this point in the game. We think that Varus is stronger here. We think that Aurora is stronger here. We think that Xinjiao with a kill is stronger here. Coming down, contesting the Drake. They don't take the Drake away, but they're not dropping farm anywhere for it. They pick up a kill on the Varus for Crushing Rock, right? The strong carry threat, so really good work. So you see, Smite does go to Hamura this time. Scootin can't win them all as he steals away the chickens.
Yeah, something to point out is, Hamura contesting that dragon, he has fallen behind a little bit in camp, but taking that camp away, huge, catching him back up, even level with level 6, and we see all of his red side camps and blue side camps are all up, so the ability to kind of retake his lead is right there for him. And, we look over to this top side, continuing to get the push here, obviously looking for some scaling, trying to hit those 2-item power spike, taking that coal, slight gold advantage on the top side, about 400 for the side of Fiora. But, it's not just about the gold. I mean, I think we saw it with that first blood. It's the ability to create pressure. It's the ability to create some movement and freedom to leave the lane and impact elsewhere like he did in that jungle. So very, very exciting. And I think so far, if you're TMG, you're pretty happy about how it's going so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at this mid lane CS as well, up about 20 for FYS with Stone Cold stuck in the lane with no mana, right? Unable, to even farm under the stars. See Scootin going for a bit of a lane gank. The bot lane here is unspotted in this second brush. We'll see if he can move up to the third. Be able to if he wants to, but might just back off. Crushing Arc dodges out on the zap. Really good. Crushing Arc totally fine to get pushed in here. Like, you could give Jinx the push, that's okay. He's just farming up about a 10 CS lead for himself as well. See, Stone Cold has now TP'd back into the mid lane, try and even up that CS a little bit, but he's down almost 30 now.
Absolutely, and I love the look here, having that immediate mid prio from the side of FYS, Hamura recognizing, hey, these grubs are up, we have mid prio, and immediately, kind of beelining it there. Also recognizing Night Ravens, has clue, kind of looking for that reset. Should be a second set of grubs from the side of TMG, completely uncontested. It'll be interesting to see if Akuma can kind of make any additional pressure on this bot side, but Varus just able to kind of absorb the pressure at the moment, and he's not losing anything for it.
Yeah, absolutely. As Mitsuki roams up, says, Varus, you're going to be fine down here in the 1v2, buddy. You can handle it. I'm going to roam up and take the grubs. And 6 grubs for TMGD. Exactly what you want to see for the team that we said is going to win this game through split pushing, right? They're going to win through the side pressure of Aurora and Fiora. Aurora and Fiora, that's kind of fun. With 6 grubs, going to be even easier.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, of course, this boss side able to get some plates and some hold on Jinx, which, again, is a great thing from the side of Akuma Esports. But I think if you're TMG, this is again leading into your overall game plan, and I think that's okay. We do have ultimate coming out from the top side here.
Yeah, Clue going in, forced to flash out though. Night Raven's expending just the ultimate proc in the vitals on the Clue. Clue low on mana, had to retreat, didn't have the ultimate to escape there either. Now gonna recall, doesn't quite have TP up, so probably gonna lose a plate or 2 here to the Fiora. Well played from Night Raven.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, something to think here when you think about itemization, you know, just that Tiamat, the extra additional power to push the wave. As we can see, Clue cancels his recall because of that, how fast that wave got pushed in, recognizing, you know, hey, I don't have TP. If I leave here, I'm going to lose a lot more than intended, you know. So great recognition there. We do see, obviously, huge priority in this bot side, about 10 seconds until this dragon comes up. You know, Vision still contested here, not any real control by either team.
Yeah, and you're right. Well played by Clue. He recalls in just enough time to get his TP back so he can TP back in. Not going to lose the plate to Night Ravens. So see, Dragon started up here for TMGD. Would be really huge if they could pick up this Hex Tech Dragon. But Scootin is in the area, is on Vision. However, FYS hopping in a little bit, trying to zone him off, and I think he will zone him off. We'll have to see if they want to late contest this with the Cyclone. Walking in, but Stone Cold is over the wall, not really able to access the fight. It's a smite down immediately. Looks like TMGD actually wants to take the fight. Going into the depth charge, knocking everyone up. Moore in there with the Crescent Guard, making so much space. But Stone Cold is on the backside. Scooter taken so low, shut down by FYS. Feet of Warfare goes to the blue team. Crushing Rock lives too. Stone Cold not able to find it. Double kill to the Varus. FYS is full HP, and he is in here. Data flashing over the wall. Rathu forced the flash as well. They took down Hamura and Mitsuki. It's a 2 for 2 in the end, but the Dragon went to TMGD, and those kills are in the right place.
Absolutely. You know, Varus picking up on that goal is going to be great, you know, especially when you think about, it's kind of a win-win, right? Like, if FYS gets it, that's great, because you're creating more power in that side lane, which is what you want to do. But if Varus gets that, then it gives you more options when it comes to team fighting and you know, kind of them absorbing pressure, you know, while they're split laning. And then from the side of Akuma, Jinx got your kills. So as far as trading 2 for 2, it's about as best as you could hope for. Having Jinx pick up both those kills is going to be a huge deal.
Yeah, but I want to point out the summoner spells that were used in that fight as well, right? Crushing Rock still has his flash up. Rathu had to burn both flash and barrier and data burn flash as well, right? So TMGD takes that trade. They say, okay, we got some kills in the Jinx. We claimed the feats, right? They got feats of strength off the feat of warfare and taking the dragon. They have 3 kills on this Varus as a completed Ginzu's now at this point, and still has his flash up for the next fight, potentially around Herald. You are sitting pretty.
Absolutely, you know, and you say that Ginzu, you know, we do see Crushing Rock opting, as he often does, for this DPS heavy build. When it comes to Varus, I think, again, it's a great choice when you have, you know, champions like Braum, Wukong, and, you know, knowing that you're going to have to be hitting on this Desante as the game goes on. Again, I think a very great choice here. You know, and it'll be interesting, like you said, not having flash, you know, makes that depth charge, you know, for Mitsuki just a lot more lethal. You know, looking for that Jinx as the game goes on. You know, we do have Hamura kind of sneaking in for a lane gank here, so it'll be interesting to see if you know, they can make something happen of it here. And Clue, just again, that pushing power of the Tiamat items. Ooh, looks like we're gonna get a little engaged here.
Yeah, he hits a hook, hits a depth charge as well. Data looking a little caught out here, doesn't have his flash taken so low. We'll see if they can finish off. FYS finishes it off, puts him in the spirit realm. Hops the weirding down, takes half of Scootin's health as well. Great play from TMGD. They're going to get the push into this tower with 6 strokes now. Night Ravens maybe caught a little bit out. No immunes it, but all out from Clue. We're going to see if he wins that 1v1. Just Casante things. Night Raven caught a little by surprise. Tanked a couple of tower shots. Didn't even flash. Taken down by a little star walking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, taking that tower shot, very, very unfortunate. And I think something to realize, and this is kind of what I was talking about, that Fiora matchup is not nearly as bad. Ooh, we have a Hex Flash over this wall.
Yeah, we can talk about that in a second. A bit of a fight down here. Samora going in with the Crescent Guard as well. Gets taken down by Stone Cold, but shuts down the Jinx. Scootin, ooh, almost gets it under Mitsuki. Oh, but he does fall to the QW from Stone Cold. Only 1 kill to the Hui this time, but they shut down the Jinx. A little bit of an overextension from TMGD as we see Akuma trying to force the lead a little bit more as well. Scootin' and Data taking the improved blast cone over in the mid lane, but FYS not under a lot of pressure. So nice couple of kills for Akuma, right? Kicking TMGD out of their jungle. They tried an invade. They thought they were ahead enough, but gave a couple of kills over to the Hwei, over to the Jinx. So not ideal. A little bit of a comeback from Akuma. Gold now closer to even and 1.5k for TMGD, but they're not too upset with all of this.
No, and I think, again, the gold's going in the right places, right? You know, Hwei picks up a kill there. You know, getting that gold onto those, again, that's the 2 carry tile comp that they have. You know, and go back to this topside matchup, I think a lot of people don't realize that, you know, until Fiora hits about that 2-item spike where the matchup changes, it's not quite as one-sided as people think. I mean, K'Sante, you know, especially going that first Thornmail, is really digging into the healing that those ladders give. You know, it's really, you know, as he stacks this armor, as you can see, looks like Night Ravens might be in a little bit of trouble here. Just gonna go ahead and dash on out as Fiora 1 does. But like I said, that matchup is not nearly as one-sided until the game gets a little bit later.
Yeah, beautiful riposte there to save Night Ravens from the gank. Hits the Q3 from K'Sante, stuns him up. Nothing really they could do. They may look to contest Herald, though, as they've got a lot of members up here on the top side. Both mid laners have now switched down to the bot lane as the blue team claims the first tower. That gold going over to Crushing Rock as well. This Varus so fed down here in the bot lane. 3-0-1 with a bounty on top of it. We see Crushing Rock has his summoners up as well. Dragon spawning in just about 7 seconds. Both teams coming down here to contest. FYS running back out on the map. In the bot side has 1 base up on Stone Cold, maybe has a little item lead there, as TMGD seems to have the pressure here, seems to have the first move in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think with the lead you have on Varus, and of course, you know, Homura being as big as he is, you have to be very careful here, maybe recognizing that you're not quite in the best spot, but, you know, with FYS kind of stuck off to the side here, they might look to kind of an in here.
Yeah, Stone Cold has to flash out, sends in the Spiraling Despair onto Mitsuki, who's taken very low. This Nautilus got to the fall as well. Homura stunned up in the pit, dashes in, but doesn't have the Crescent Guard left. He's gonna fall. TMGD is getting wiped here. A bit of a solo kill in the top lane for Night Ravens will make up for some of it, but Akuma Sabers with a big play on the bot side. Stone Cold putting out the damage. Mitsuki and Homura fall. The Drake claimed by Akuma Sabers, but on the top side, some trades back. This is what we wanted from Night Raven. He gets the solo kill. He gets the top tower by himself. He's pushing in on that tier 2 with 6 grubs. The Fiora trying to build the lead for TMGD, bailing his team out from a little bit of a messy bot fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, you kind of took FYS, who's going to be the big part of those team fights, like really kind of getting on the backside of either Stone Cold or Raphu, getting onto this Jinx and play. And he was kind of out of that fight. We're going to get a quick replay of this solo kill here on the top side.
Yeah, I'm interested to see this. The health turtles, wow, Night Ravens heals up so much of that Rapidus hiding there. Catches Clue on a recall, puts a ward down. See, great dodge there, yeah. Procs all of the vitals so quickly. Clue, nothing he can really do. Has the ultimate and the flash. Tries to cue him into the tower, but gets stunned up by the riposte and a flash in from Night Ravens. That was clean. Clue didn't see it coming.
Yeah, very well done. And again, picking up that tower in the process, yeah, as we decided there, as we discussed, you know, the real strength of that Fiora, getting those towers in the side lane. And like we said, you know, especially if you're losing those team fights, you got to be getting some of them somewhere else. And Night Ravens did exactly that. As we see him kind of even out, and looks like he's going to hold a little bit of pressure up here while Homura looks near that objective. But, you know, this is what we're looking for, right? This is what TMG's plan was. Like, hey, we need to get this Fiora ahead. We need to get her moving. You know, she's not quite where I think we would want to see. But slight experience lead. Obviously, he's going to have some extra gold from those towers. And I think the matchup is only going to get worse and worse for K'Sante.
Yeah, not a bad spot. It is a little scary that they've put so much gold into the Hwei now, right? He was falling really far behind, still behind in this side lane CS wars. They may try to pick him under this tower. Spawning up the Rift Herald, going to take the bot tower with it. Herald is here as well. Or sorry, not Herald. Voracious Otacon is in the bot side as well as this Herald, which was spawned in. Not quite going to take down the tower by itself. One auto from FYS, it will. Herald now going to push in towards the tier 2, and we'll see if TMGD wants to fall back towards that. Otacon is scooting in here. The Tri-Brush unseen, hits him with a Cyclone, knocked him up. Homura down to half health already. Mitsuki and FYS running for the hills. Homura flashing out. Oh, but Scootin may have chased it too far. Gets hit with the Between Worlds by FYS. So much damage. The 1-for-1 trade. Jungler for support, but TMGD probably okay with that trade so far. Crushing Rock over here in the Tri-Brush. Maybe a little caught. Data taking some damage from the Otacon as well. FYS in the middle of the lane has the flash, uses it to dodge the Glacial Fissure. As Data now maybe a little caught out, hits by the wind, becomes lightning. Both junglers and both supports are now down. See, it's the 2v2 mid and bot laners down here. Akuma Sabers pushing in on this tower. FYS and Crushing Rock don't think they have the power to fight this. Hits a nice piercing arrow on the back there, but Akuma Sabers tries to make, oh my god, another solo kill on the top lane. It is bloody all over the place as Clooney Chungus takes down Night Ravens again in the side lane. Akuma Sabers coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, as we discussed, it takes about that 2-item power spike, and you know, Clue recognizing that he's up on items here on Night Ravens and taking that to his advantage. We are going to get a replay of how this kill breaks out here.
Yeah, Night Ravens doesn't have flash. Used it in that last 1v1. Pops the grand challenge, but not able to proc all of the vitals yet. Clue playing that so well, standing in next to the wall. Wow, and not letting Night Ravens proc the ultimate. And with that, hits the Q3. Oh, and a beautiful buffer on the riposte, right? Uses that all out, gets the unstoppable to buffer the stun, takes Night Ravens through the wall. Really clean play from Clue.
Yeah, absolutely. Great pickup there. And again, I think that's a huge shout out to Clue, just recognizing where your power is, you know, what item spikes you're on, what item spikes your opponent's on, and then, again, taking advantage of that. So very excited to see. And then from the side of TMG, it's unfortunate, right? Is Fiora, while not super behind, you got to remember he's got all of those plates, you've got that tower gold, which is going to, you know, make the gold lead look, it's a hidden gold, right? We don't see that on the surface level there, but we understand that it is.
Yeah, but the issue here is that Night Raven's not winning the side lane the way that we want him to, and TMGD is actually now losing the team fights on the opposite side, right? That's 2 fights in a row that they have lost in the bot side 4v4 to Akuma Sabers, right? Stone Cold and Rathu are starting to really put our damage. See, Mitsuki maybe caught out again here. Gets hit with the Glacial Fissure, the super mega death rocket. The Jinx comes in. Oh, and he's rooted up as well. FYS tried to come in on the flank, gets shut down by the Wukong. 2 quick kills over to Akuma Sabers. They're going to move towards this Otacon. See, they're starting up the Voracious Otacon here. Dragon has spawned as well. We'll be able to maybe move straight to the Dragon after taking the Otacon. 4 members on it. Moore is in the area. We'll see if he wants to contest, but no, they have vision of the Tri-Brush. Just going to have to give this Otacon. Fiora is pushing up the top side, so a little bit of a silver lining for TMGD, but this is a bit of a disaster. Akuma Sabers really turning the tides, showing us why they are also at the top of this group at 5-0. Let's see. Hitting up the Drake here. This will be 3rd Dragon for Akuma Sabers, moving them to Soul Point, a huge turning point in this game. They've got their win condition. It is team fighting, and they are winning it. Mitsuki caught out in a couple of fights here, now 0-5 on the Nautilus. And I know that is a very common Nautilus scoreline. See, Blue taking a bit of a 1v2 up here in the top side. He's got the Voracious Otacon, does not care. Grand Challenge is popped and rocked. But Cassante is unstoppable. Cassante is getting shields. Night Ravens is pretty low. Stone Cold fires up the Spiraling Despair, not going to hit. Super Mega Death Rocket dodged out by the Blast Cone as well. Blue Chung is forced to recall for 15 seconds or so after the false life was popped. But not much else. Scootin moving in here, see if he can take this Nautilus down to 0-6. Hooks into the wall though. Nice from Mitsuki. Not going to be able to get Scootin on the backside of that either. No kills for anyone there. A couple of ultis popped for Akuma Sabers though. Maybe not what you want to see with the Otacon. Mora in the area, quite tanky on this Titanic spike, but maybe not tanky enough. As he's hit by the concussive blows, he's stunned up. He's not going to make the blast going in time. Wind becomes lightning, does not find anything. Stone Cold Incel is on a rampage at this point, coming back in, pushing in this mid lane. FYS is here, wants to see if he can save his team from what is just an incredibly losing sequence. Yeah, pops 1 withdraw there with the Between Worlds, but Clue is here as well. His Cassante is so strong. Night Raven's flashing out. It's slowed up. Akuma Sabers A-ramming it here against TMGD. This is the kind of fighting we want to see from our 1 seeds. As they're just going to start to back it off. Channel those recalls, see if they can set up around this Baron. Akuma Sabers is now evened this gold out almost enough. It's about a 1,500 gold lead still for TMGD off the back of a couple of nice towers. Right, Akuma Sabers is yet to claim a tower, but that means a lot of standing gold. If they get some of those towers, if they can get a little bit of pressure, they can even up that gold pretty quickly. heading into this next fight around Baron. Dragon up in 3 minutes. That could end up being one of the deciding team fights in this game. See Akuma Sabers here on 3 Dragons. Freshman pushing up the mid lane. FYS pushing up the side lane. This is what we wanted to see from the Aurora, from the Fiora. We wanted to see them pushing inside lanes aggressively. And Aurora so good at getting out of those situations. Just pops the invisible, jumps out, hops, skips, and jumps away out of the lane. So we see Clue here taking the bot wave, pushing it back in. Totally fine to catch these waves a little further on his side of the map. So we see finally a bit of respite from all of the fighting. A bit of rest for my voice as yeah, I believe Leslie will be hopefully rejoining us at some point, but is having a power outage as his house has been struck by lightning, apparently. So our thoughts are with Leslie is hopefully he can recover from that, maybe rejoin us later in the series. I hope to see Night Ravens maybe a little caught out on the bot side, but maybe just baiting him. Clue stunned up by the riposte. Smitsky flashing over the wall with Laura. They are in there, but this Cassante just takes no damage. Data falls quickly to Casante's still at 3k, pops the all out on a Night Ravens, drags him through the wall, but FYS is here off the back of the Unleashed teleport. Clue now forced to run away. No, actually going back in. Gets the Unstoppable doing so much damage and is so tanky. They take down FYS and Clue is still alive. In the backside there, he's still alive. He somehow escapes as Night Raven falls, chasing too far into Cassante. We should know by now what this champion does. Finally, the Wukong will fall. 1 kill back to TMGD, but otherwise a disaster in the jungle. Sorry, that was 2 kills for 2. Not that bad, as I forgot the Braum fell there in the start, but Cassante is a problem. He needed the Fiora to be winning for TMGD, and she just isn't. This Cassante level 17, so tanky, does so much damage. Now Akuma Sabers is gonna be able to start picking up some of that standing gold I was talking about, picking up that mid tier 1, backing it off, getting ready for this next dragon fight in about a minute. So we'll see item breakthroughs coming here. We'll see if Jinx can complete. No, not quite able to complete that Lord Doms. As we see, Crushing Rock is on 3 items. Interesting pickup with the Hull Breaker there for Crushing Rock, saying, hey, look, I recognize if we're winning this game, it's through side lane pressure, and saying that he can play through side lanes as well. Inzu's Terminus Hull Breaker for the Varus there. Maybe a little less effective in the team fights than the Jinx will be at this point, but so strong in the side lane. But see, it's a 5v5 down here in the bot side. Everyone is ready for this dragon fight. Flew over the wall with the blast gun. Scootin is in there. Pops the Glacier Fisher from Braum. Crushing Rock knocked up, but Aura is caught out in the middle of everybody. Hasn't popped the Crescent Guard yet. Pops it just as he dies. Trading jungle for supporters now, but you want to see Scootin now back it out. FYS on the flank though. Pops him between worlds. Puts him with the Spirit Realm. Lots of damage on a Scootin. We'll see TMGD trying to fight back all out onto Mitski. I don't think you care about the Nautilus there. Cassante not quite tanky enough to take that up. Gets the 1-for-1. FYS dodges out on the Super Mega Death Rocket. TMGD coming out on top of this fight so far. 2 for 3 off the back of a great flank from FYS. See Night Ravens walking up here, pushes out Stone Cold, pushes out Rafty. Crushing Rock with his Hull Breaker says, I can solo a dragon. Doesn't matter. Gonna solve this dragon. Gonna take a little bit of the pressure off of TMGD, right? If they can take this dragon, they get another 5 minutes to chill out before another soul fight has to happen. Finally, a team fight win for TMGD off the back of a great flank from FYS. I see Leslie is back at the call. Leslie, are you back with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You're back.
Alrighty. Yeah, a little bit of bad weather here in Nebraska, so it's giving me a test for sure.
Yeah, sorry to hear it, but happy that you're back. You're back to what has become a complete banger. Akuma won a couple of team fights. They got themselves to Soul Point, and then they just lost the team fight down on the bot side to TMGD, who is now taking the Drakes a little bit closer to even. Baron is up. Gold lead is still in TMGD's favor, but not by much, as we're probably just waiting for the next dragon fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, great to see that. Obviously, Soul Point on the side of Akuma Esports, it's going to be something very important to pay attention to, and giving them some options as far as, you know, being able to trade maybe this dragon for a Baron or things like that. And obviously, I missed this, but something to see is Jinx and Hui continuing to build that lead. A lot of damage. Ooh.
The Mitsuki a bit caught out, gets stunned up by the traps. Oh, flashes with the Mega Death Rocket though. Homura is now in there, pops the Crescent Guard, not gonna take much damage. Everyone is sort of backing off, but Jinx really okay in this fight, wants to kite forward, hitting those rockets. Oh, Sabers tries to go back in, but the wind becomes lightning. Rathu flashes out though, pops the barrier as well. Data maybe a little far in there. As Spiraling Despair goes wide. Akuma Sabers quite low. We'll see FYS on the flank here. Wants to see if he can pick him up. Blue Chungus did TP in. Yeah, there it is. FYS picks up 1, picks up 2 by putting him in Spirit Realm. Rathu still low. Mitsuki going in. That's a bit of an aggressive death charge. See, Crushing Rock tries to put the damage down. Can't get it, but FYS can. That's a triple kill to the Aurora. Clue trying his best to even it up. Gets 2 kills of his own in that fight, but FYS on the flank again as we see Night Ravens is finally doing it. He's pushing in. He's taking the tier 2. He's taking the tier 3. He's taking the inhib now. This Fiora is unleashed in the side lane from the great team fighting the rest of his team. We'll see now, can he escape from the Kasante in the way? Has the lunge. Ooh, flashes the Q3 from Clue. Shouldn't be able to chase much further. Fiora, a lot of dash, is gonna take the inhib and get out. 3 gold lead exploding open for TMGD.
Yeah, I mean, something to keep in mind is, maybe, Fiora's starting to lose these he's losing these side lane fights, 1v1 for a little while, but, Akuma really needs this Kasante in these team fights, right? They need them to support that front line. And it looks like TMGD gonna kind of threaten a Baron, but realizing they don't quite have the pressure yet, Clue being off map there, but again, we see that as just how effective, as we discussed, Fiora is at taking those silent objectives, crushing through, taking 2 towers, looking at that inhib, and being able to escape with 2 collapses. So TMG's game plan so far working out well.
Yeah, up now almost 5k off the back of that play, or excuse me, almost 5k off the back of the play, about 4.5. As they popped Stone Cold's TP as well by threatening that Baron, so not completely a waste of time. They started the Baron, got the TP out. See, TP advantage, yeah, both members of Team GD still have their teleports, able to hopefully pressure through side lanes as we wanted to see. Dragon is up in a minute and a half though, and this is where Akuma could really look to come back, right? Team GD has to fight this Dragon. It is still sole point for Akuma. That is the only advantage they really have left in this game, is that they are on sole point, is that they can force a fight. They could even maybe try to force a Baron and let TMG take the Dragon, but the issue there is you're going to get split from stars. We'll see, Rathu taking so much damage. Crushing Rock is godlike, but so is FYS, finding these plays of the mid lane. That is 3 team fights in a row that I would argue FYS has solo won.
Yeah, and that just, unfortunately, Rathu just stepping up a little bit, not respecting the mobility of Aurora, and then, let's be honest, the explosive damage that we see from Aurora. Luden's Tempest, Shadow Flame, Storm Surge, just 10 stacks on Dark Seal, another Needless Sealar Draw, likely going for Rabadon's Death Cap, just absolutely full. I'm going to blow up Quay and Jinx in these team fights. And now we see TMG go ahead and start up this Baron.
Yeah, off the back of that, you find a pick in the mid wave, you can get Baron. Mitsuki zoning him off. Yeah, Akuma not even going to contest as they have to answer Night Ravens in bot lane, pushing into that inhib he already took. As TMG Death Knight's gonna take down the Baron, gonna explode this gold lead even further open to about 6,000 now. Night Ravens again escaping on the bot side. They still have a tier 1 tower down here. He is feeling completely safe down here. They're chasing him in. They're trying to get a little pressure, maybe a little vision in this bot side before the Dragon spawns. Night Raven saying, nope, we'll stay out on the map. Maybe come over this wall. Caught a little bit out. Homura, Blast Cone way in enemy territory. Still has the flash though. He's actually gonna start with the Drake. See Clue maybe a little caught out, but he's so tanky, it just doesn't matter. FYS taking a big chunk from Stone Cold on the bot side. Tamura already had to pop the Crescent Guard. Clue caught a little bit, rooted up. Wow, they took down that Kasante fast. He's not tanky enough anymore. The Cyclone not knocking enough people up. That's a double kill for Crushing Rock. See if he can make it a triple. Jinx has got a reset now though. Rathu walking in on Tamura. 3 kills now for the Baron. Says FYS is here. Oh my god, the Weirding does so much damage. He puts him in the Spirit Realm, and then he puts him into the Death Realm. Sends Akuma Sabers back to the fountain. TMGD gonna try and push in, see if they can end the game with Super Minions and Baron.
Yeah, I think you got 25 seconds, super minions, and like you said, the Baron buff, only 1 wave to clear. Should be a clean in. FYS coming in, that fight looking a little split on the side of Akuma, maybe not exactly deciding, I would love to hear the comm, just not really deciding on to go in on Homura or really defend this Kasante, but TMG Death Knights taking down Akuma Esports in this game number 1.
Yeah, decisive victory here. They picked a team comp where they needed to outplay, they needed to out-execute Akuma Sabers, and they did it. Akuma fought back. They showed some really great moments. Clue in the top lane getting a couple of solo kills in there, some good team fighting from their bot side, especially from their mid laner and bot laner. But at the end of the day, as has been the story for TMG Death Knights, FYS in the team fights. Just picking up so many kills, doing so much damage. I'm giving him my MVP for this game.
No, I would have to agree. I mean, I think obviously, Night Ravens, it didn't quite go as he wanted in lane and in that 1v1 matchup, but still effective, still played his part, still applied pressure. And even with that pressure, I mean, even when they said, hey, take our inhib, we're going to win the fight. Like you said, FYS, Crushing Rock a big part of this too, but FYS, like you said, really, biding his time, moving around the map, finding those flank angles, and and that we see it in the end there. Jinx trying to kind of pop off and get those resets. Rathu trying to kind of bail his team out, and FYS absolutely shutting him down. I mean, just great performance, and again, very exciting for TMG Death Knights. I do think, like you said, it was a harder team comp to execute. They had to execute better. They could make less mistakes, and they did. They did a great job of executing that, and they put that clock on Akuma Esports and didn't let them outscale.
Yeah, sort of just like hands diffing in the team fights, right? Because this is a comp that should not be winning. Should not be winning front to back team fights, but they were not taking front to back team fights. FYS is so good at finding flanks on Aurora, right? He got chunked out at the start of that fight by Stone Cold. He recalled, TP'd back in, and just blew them up at the end there. I want to say Crushing Rock as well. So much damage in the team fights. This guy is really good at Varus. Really good at standing back, putting out damage from a distance. I actually don't think he died that game. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he may have gone deathless.
Yeah, but yeah, I believe as well. Yeah, did go deathless. FYS with the 1 death. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think it was a great start to the series. I think Akuma, obviously there were some bright moments there. Obviously Clue held his own on that top side. Night Ravens being the apex player for TMG. Clue held his own. They said, hey, we're going to pinch your pool, and we recognize that, Fiora is still your style, but it's on the lower part of the champions you play, and we're going to put you to the test. And I have a feeling that's probably going to be a theme as this game goes on, is continuing to kind of try to shut down Night Ravens as you can. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I think there's obviously some adjustments to be made. Shout out to FYS. They said, hey, pick way, it's fine. Yeah, maybe you out trade me a little bit in the mid wave, in the mid game, or excuse me, the laning phase, but I'm gonna CS better, and I'm gonna make a bigger impact on my team as the game goes on, and he did just that. So very excited to see how Akuma adjusts their draft. And like I said, are they gonna put all these bans towards this top side and really try to shut down Night Ravens, or say, you know what, Clue, you did well. We need to shift this focus somewhere else and help out somebody else. So excited to see how we get in here into game 2.
Yeah, we'll see what the adaptations are. That's part of the benefit of Fearless Draft, right? We know it will not go the exact same way. No matter how it changes, it will change somehow. We're going to go to a break here, but we will be right back with Game 2, TMGD versus Akuma Sabers. welcome back to the Titan Esports Vanquisher League. If you missed it, Game 1, TMGD taking down Akuma Sabers, in a decisive victory. Really back and forth for a little bit, but strong team fighting from TMG Death Knights. Really just sort of caught Akuma off guard. They picked the team fighting comp, and they lost the team fights.
Yeah, I think they definitely got out-executed. Obviously, Night Ravens did a great job of applying pressure. FYS did a great job of finding those flanks, really, getting onto those carries, being decisive with their decision-making. We had a couple of questionable, like, Mitsuki, what are you doing in there? And then all of a sudden, the team collapses, and some great execution. So very excited to see kind of how Akuma adjusts. Obviously, they are a very strong team still. I don't expect them to go quickly into the night. I think that this next game, they're going to come out swinging, and I expect it to be very, very competitive.
Yeah, it was completely competitive, right? Like, even if at the end the team fights were really starting to go one way, and the gold lead, maybe gold graph probably looked a certain way, it was a competitive game. Akuma was in it the whole time, and we'll see. I believe they can bounce back for Game 2 and hopefully take us all the way to a Game 3. But in the meantime, while we're waiting on draft, we did a little Kiss, Marry, Kill over here at Titan Esports. We like doing this sort of thing. And this week, finally, Leslie and I got some good options.
Yep, I am so excited here. And I think, obviously, as you can see, production as well as us really living on Kai'Sa. We are all vast Kai'Sa enjoyers. All of us marrying her in a heartbeat, not even close. And as you can see, as I've been corrected, 3 out of the 4 of us marrying her in a heartbeat. One will just a kiss. Nothing to go ahead and marrying Karma for Golden. Can't get her away. But we'll Dragon Vayne. I mean, I think this is straightforward. Everybody had the same thought. We are a bunch of Vayne haters in Titan right now. But man, I was so excited for this Kiss, Marry, Kill. Kai'Sa, my favorite champ in League of Legends. Not my favorite skin. I think the Chinese 10th anniversary chroma on the IG skin is probably my favorite skin of all time. Not just for Kai'Sa, but for just all of League of Legends. But Lagoon Dragon, another great skin, and of course, great champs to choose from.
Yeah, there's something to this one. I like her hair on this one. I like the sort of short green hair. I think that's fun. If this wasn't enough to prove to you how much we like Kai'Sa, our production team here has a combined over 1 million mastery points on Kai'Sa. I just counted up. We're like over 1,200,000 if you combine all of us. So some real Kai'Sa enjoyers here. I'm hoping we can maybe see it in a game or two, as I don't imagine we'll be seeing much Vayne or Karma. I actually didn't know this Karma skin existed. I'm going to be completely honest, but it's quite pretty.
Yeah, really great. And unfortunately, I think I actually like the Dragon Mancer Vayne skin.
Yeah, it's cool.
I just don't like Vayne. I don't know what else to say. I don't really know how else to say that one. I'm not a big Vayne enjoyer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. Kiss, Marry, Kill been a great segment. Obviously, I always ask for rerolls and I never get awarded them. But you know what? That's okay. This was a great one. And Kai'Sa obviously getting a lot of love from Titan Esports today. And like you said, I mean, it'll be interesting. What did you say? What, 1.2, the 4 of us combined?
Yeah, over 1.2 million.
I think Loki's leading. What,
actually, not even including Golden. That's just Yumi and Loki. I don't know if Golden has played Kai'Sa. There you go. So an additional 60,000. That probably takes us up to maybe 1.3 million or so. But we're at Kai'Sa loving broadcast. I also want to say that this Kiss, Marry, Kill, while great, and I am really enjoying having good options. It scares me for what might happen next week.
Yeah, this was too good to be true.
You know, I feel like I'm getting baited. I don't have enough vision to follow it in. It's gonna be 3 more Hecarim skins or something.
Right. 3 more Hecarim skins. Oh my gosh. All right. Excited here as we move on and get into this draft. Fearless, right? I mean, we've been doing this all season, but it never gets old. I am actually very excited. Well, I do like traditional league and a meta game and kind of seeing how teams adapt to it. Fearless has been a breath of fresh air. It's been really nice to see the different options and some unique team comps come out that we wouldn't necessarily see before. Akuma Esports opting to stay on this red side. We discussed on where their bans were going to stick. And it looks like so far Ambessa being a ban locked in, We'll see what the second one comes in, but they may be still continuing to put pressure on Night Ravens here. Syndra locked in, so we're going to see some similar bans. TMG, Bai, and Maokai already locked in. Something similar. We tend to see these bans stay the same for the most part. Pantheon, so again, same 3 bans from TMGD. I expect the Jax ban to come out here from Akuma. And, now that the Zinja has been picked, Wei is gone. What is this prio pick? What are you picking out here for TMG on B1?
I know we were hating it. It may fall down to something like Skarner. I think the jungle pool is very pinched. I think engaged junglers are very good. But we'll see. Oh, actually, wow, Misfortune as a B1 pick. Not really the prio I would normally see, but I like it from Crushing Rock. I think it fits his style. We'll just see what they want to pair it with. And if it can really do enough damage to prove why it's a good B1 pick, Ezreal, response here for Rathu. I like Ezreal personally. I think he's very strong, and I like him in Misfortune. It's fun.
Yeah, I think, credit to Crushing Rock, and I think, obviously positioning is a huge thing on Misfortune, one of those very immobile AD carries. Yeah, she's a little fast, and I get that, but in general, very immobile. And I think, last game was a great, Varus, also another immobile AD carry. I think he did a great job with that. Not Hamura, but Twisted Fate being the lock-in for TMGD, the answer into Orianna from the side of Stone Cold. So interesting to see, those playmaking, as we've discussed, FYS kind of flipping the script and changing. He is a playmaker for his team right now. I mean, he is, we saw that on the Aurora last game. We're going to see those options for Twisted Fate this game. We do see an early Rakan locked in for here. We are going to see the infamous Orianna Nocturne combo coming out from Student and Stone Cold, so we'll get to see if that synergy can kind of line up with them. So definitely looking for some engage options as well, some additional CC to come out from their top and support sides.
Yeah, I like it. I think they're leaning into their team fight thing, right? I mean, you can't do a salty run back; it's fearless. But this is kind of close, right? We're still trying to play for the team fight as Akuma Sabers here, picking Nocturne Orianna. It's a great combo. It's pretty easy to execute, especially onto someone like a Misfortune, right? A low mobility AD carry. If I'm TMGD here, I kind of want to maybe take like a Jarvan or an Amumu or something to really set that MF up. We'll see what Akuma wants to go here. I hope that they blind to support and save counter pick for Klugi Chungus. Top lane there is, there it is, Leona. Great team fighting support, really fits with the Nocturne Orianna combo. Totally here for it. We are looking to kill this Misfortune.
Yeah, and I think you're, like you said, right, I do want to see the support pick here. You didn't pinch this top lane matchup, or this top lane pool as much as we do see the Gwen coming out for Night Ravens, another champ that he's plays very, very well on. So you do want to give, Kluchungus an option to pick against this. And as you called out, great perception there, Jarvan. Another option to really line up this potential, combo from Crushing Rock. What top laner? Yeah. What's your choice into? You're a top laner. We do see a Gragas. What do you like to play into Gwen when you got?
Gragas is kind of fun. Well, yeah, I was going to say I like Lambessa and everything. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I like the Gragas honestly here. I think he's neutralizing enough in the side lane. Sure. Fits into that team fighting like possibility, right? Really good at team fighting. He can maybe find those flanks or at least stop Night Ravens on the flanks. But what I'm interested here for TMG is again, it looks like they want to be playing through side lanes, right? They're picking strong side lane pushers for FYS and Night Ravens. For FYS, they're letting him get around the map on Twisted Fate, right? Able to pop the Destiny and show up bot lane, show up top lane, try to push advantages in these side lanes the way that he was doing so well last game. But on top of that, we've picked Rakan, MF, Jarvan, who are like just a team fighting like trio there, right? So they're saying, okay, maybe we'll still fight you in some places. Maybe we're just looking for picks with MF and Jarvan. That's also possible. But who do you favor in this draft, Leslie? As it's a little up in the air for me.
So I will want to say, I think, and obviously I'm going to take results into this game. I think looking at how TMG wants to play the game is it really. I love seeing Hamura on these proactive choices. I think that's really great for him. I think obviously Xin Zhao is one of those, Jarvan being another option. FYS's ability to move around the map, find flanks, things like that is really great. Night Ravens, again, one of those big 1v1, style, split push style top laners, fighters per se. So I like TMG's options as far as that goes, again, playing through sides. And with the execution I've seen, I tend to like those team comps. However, Akuma is, again, a little more traditional. Leona, Ezreal bot lane. You have a 2v2 that's looking to team fight, in the later stages with that Orianna Nocturne combo. And again, a neutralizing Gragas to then go ahead and look for the team fight. So it's going to be a lot closer this time. I think Akuma, I would have just hands down gave it to them that last draft. I still like their draft last game over TMG. The result doesn't change that for me. I think this time, though, I do want to give the edge to TMGD. I think the Twisted Fate gives them a little bit more options as far as rotating around and being proactive like they do, really controlling the tempo of the game. So yeah, I think TMGD is where I'm gonna have to give it out right now.
I'm feeling similarly. I think it's hard to watch that last game and look at this where our comps are set up similarly, right? Similar stylistic ideas, at least for each team. TMGD still trying to push through sides, still trying to win off of that. Akuma still heavily indexing towards team fight. But it's hard to watch that last game where TMG Death Knights did it so effectively, right? And did push in those side lanes, did even win the team fights. It's hard to watch that game and give it to Akuma, but I will say I'm still going to favor Akuma's team comp. I think that if they can clean up their play a little bit, if they can get it together, if hopefully maybe Klugi Chungus can be more involved in those team fights this game instead of always pressuring on side or maybe just creating more space, right? He tried his best on the Cassante there, but just got caught a couple of times in those late team fights. So maybe if him and Data can really make space for Stone Cold and Rathy to put out the damage, I think Akuma can take it. I like their comp. I like Nocturne Ori. So I'm gonna stick to the red side, and I'm gonna say we're gonna get 3.
Yeah, and I like that. I do think, like you said, Nocturne Orianna and mobile AD carry. I mean, I think this has to be the core of how you start fights off. So really gonna be looking for that positioning power from Crushing Rock. How do you position? How do you set yourself up? I think that's going to be key to how these fights play out.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of it's going to be about vision, right? Something that Akuma maybe didn't do as well last game is they got caught on flanks by FYS a lot of the time. Now, Twisted Fate doesn't quite have the same flanking power as Aurora, doesn't have the same team fight power as Aurora just in general, but Gwen could still come in from flanks and be really, really dangerous. So I want to see Akuma, staying as a group, watching their flanks. Maybe if it has to be Gragas behind them watching the flank, and that's just what you have to do. But you need to keep, especially Stone Cold. Rathu has a little bit of self-peel on the Ezreal, but you need to keep the two of them safe because they proved in the last game that they could put out the damage, that they can carry in these team fights. I think it's the supporters around them. I think it's the Leona and the Nocturne and the Gragas that need to step it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that as well, and I think it's managing FYS's location is going to be huge, right? Obviously, that Twisted Fate Ultimate giving you the vision of the entire team, but I think recognizing and maybe perceiving where he's going to appear and kind of playing around that is going to be extremely key. And again, it's difficult. You have the lights out. I mean, I would be interested to see if Scutin uses that defensively at any point. I think there's definitely some options there. And even just like as an option to counter engage and things like that. So again, very excited to see. And I think this bot lane 2v2, I mean, there's a little bit of action last game. I'd like to see a little bit more. Obviously, we got a ton of action in the top side, some solo kills from both sides. So again, very, very cool to see. It might also be cool to see maybe TF and Jarvan obviously have a lot of pick potential, a huge 2v2. So I'd be interested to see if maybe Hamura and FYS can get something done a little more in the mid lane versus last game.
Yeah, and we saw FYS, I believe, on the Twisted Fate last week, if I'm not mistaken, and it looked pretty strong. Not really one of the meta mid laners right now. I think he doesn't do as well in those team fight scenarios that, as we said, are very prevalent in this season. But it doesn't matter if you're good, right? Like if you're good at a champ, the meta really matters way less, especially at this level, right? Which is why I think we see the Gwen, why I think we see the Twisted Fate into a more traditional team comp from Akuma Sabers. But we're gonna get into it. Game 2 of TMG Death Knights versus Akuma Sabers. TMG up 1-0. We'll see, can Akuma Sabers come back, take us to game 3, or is TMGD just the best team in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's
30 seconds until minions.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be this. We do see TMG the same style of opening as we are used to seeing them, kind of a 4 or 5 man invade to get vision, scope some things out, and Akuma just 5-pointing it out. We are going to move into this bot side again to get some extra vision, maybe scope some things out, try to confirm a starting point from the side of Homura. And again, I think that's the same thing worth discussing this game is where do you want to see these junglers path?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking it's probably the same. I'm a top to bot pathing fan. I think you can lead these top laners on an island. Again, not great gank setup from Night Ravens. You do want them ahead. You do want them to be able to split push, but again, picking a carry, a split pushing top laner without gank setup, I think makes it hard for Jarvan. Jarvan a little better at ganking without setup. Can kind of set himself up a little bit, but wow, actually looks like both junglers are going to path bot to top this game. Is that more what you would have wanted to see?
Yeah, I think it depends here. I really, like you said, I think if your goal is to have blue junglers just kind of neutralize this lane, then I, again, want to see it isolated, and I don't want to focus my time elsewhere. So personally, I wouldn't. I would like to get some action going in the spot lane. You have setup from both supports, so you have some different options there. But I could also see something, again, Jarvan, something famously for, could be very easily see him kind of 3 camp and look for ganks anyway, whether it be in mid lane, you have that setup from Twisted Fate, or again from this bot side on the side of Mipsky on the the grand entrance and things like that. Versus Nocturne. I think you could probably get away with either way because again, you really want to power farm till 6. I would almost prefer to see him kind of do a 7 camp clear, where you start on chickens, move to your blue side, clear your blue side, finish clearing your red side, your chickens recall up. You can get 7 camps, 8 with the crab versus just the traditional 6 and 7. But again, I think it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do here. And we do see Night Ravens kind of taking control of this lane so far. As TDs go, we get a little bit of items. Homura, FYS has that full prio, so not a lot to do here. Does seem like they're very favored in kind of trading their HP bars to get this priority and be able to support and move around with Homura, which is something I'd love to see. So yeah, I don't know. I think it is interesting as Homura is a little bit behind. As we do see, he kind of worked for some ganks, nothing became available, and since then has lost some tempo, obviously clearing quite slower than Student on this Nocturne. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how they continue to move that around.
Yeah, Zephyr has taken real low in the mid lane here. Lands the gold card there at the last second to hopefully prevent Stone Cold from killing him. Stone Cold low as well. So yeah, I agree with you. I think the pathing gets a lot easier when all of your lanes have prios. You see for TMGD as both junglers are up top lane. Homura's in the lane for the counter gank on Scoot. No, they didn't see it coming. Klugi Chungus falls to the EQ from Jarvan. Gwen is now fleeing, but Night Ravens has all the stacks in the world. Scootin forced to run a great counter gank from Homura, Knew his opponent was going to be there, stayed in the lane, caught the Gragas out. Oh.
Yeah, and that's the things we're talking about is, really heads up play by Homura, understanding, I can skip camps. This gives me some opportunities if I put myself in this position, and then executing, right? And now his camps are still up, you can still go get that gold. He's going to take this crab. There is a chance here. I would love to see, we do have some bot lane priority and some health advantage in the spot side, so I would not be surprised to see some contesting happening on this scuttle crab.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're Scootin, he does have a bit of a level lead, does a bit of a camp lead over Jarvan. I think he just clears faster, even trying to maybe contest this scuttle, but nope, not going to do it. Going to back off as the bot lane has pressure, as you said. Wow, there it is. Pro Comps siding with you, favoring TMG Death Knights comp, and Pro Comps is unbiased, right? Pro Comps isn't looking at this and saying, well, they won last game, so it just likes their comp.
Yeah, and I think it's... Again, it has to do with a couple of different things, and I think you look at, Orianna and Nocturne, that combo looking to either isolate and blow up one target, or, even get a couple others caught in that, Ezreal, outside of an ultimate there, it's a lot more single target damage, Leona on that single target lockdown. But again, obviously, we could talk about these comps all day long, but I think the more important thing is this execution, right? I mean, last game, Akuma Esports favored in the same direction, and just got out executed. So, I think there's going to be value to that either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it League of Legends, as much as fun as it is to talk about draft and analyze these sort of things, at the end of the day, always comes down to your execution, right? Like, you can just out team fight your enemies. Like, it does just work like that. See Night Ravens back in lane now with the full Merc treads completed. Itemizing to fight the Gragas, right? Itemizing to scrap in this early lane. As we see Homura starting up the Dragon down here at the bot side, using this bot prio. MF really strong and early, pushes with the love tap, does so much damage on her autos compared to most other AD carries at this point in the game. Homura going to use that to start up the first Drake.
Yeah, I think we talked about, Mitsuki and Crushing Rock being a very strong bot lane duo, and I think one of the best things that they've done is, despite their matchups sometimes, and in spite of their matchups sometimes, they have done a really great job of finding ways to get priority in this bot lane, whether it's trading some HP or really managing their wave in a way that gives them those little incremental advantages to allow for these types of plays, right? I mean, that play is absolutely trolling if Akuma is pushing them in, right? So a big shout out, and I think recognition for Crushing Rock and Mitsuki is they've done a great job of doing that, regardless of their position.
Yeah, absolutely, but it's not enough to just get prio. TMG Death Knights is really good at using their prio, right? They get prio in the lanes well, and then they use that prio to make plays on the map. They're so good at it. So see, Homura, the downside to taking this dragon here is that he is down a couple of camps. He is down a level. He's level 4 still. While even the supports are level 5 at this point, right? The mid laners are up to level 7 by now. So Homura is going to need to farm up a little bit more, but no, he's just going straight to the grubs. He's saying, screw it, I don't need my camps. I am getting objectives from my team. Mitsuki has roamed up, is here significantly before Data and way before Scootin. Scootin's still caught in the bot side river. As FYS moving up now as well. That should be both of the first neutral objectives going pretty uncontested to TMGD. So yeah, Nocturne pulling back, going back down the bot side river saying, nope, I'm just going to try and out-farm you. I'm up a full level. You can get these early neutrals, but I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to hit 6, and I'm going to try to gank.
Yeah, and something to point out is, we do see the Tiamat coming out from the side of Homura, obviously going to give him a little bit better clearing power, the ability to take those grubs like he just did. And I think something that people often forget about is the amount of experience that you actually get from taking those grubs is quite high. We do have, looks like, he's going to commit into it.
Yeah, here it comes, Scootin in with the paranoia. The explosive cask is in, but it doesn't knock Night Ravens quite back in as he's going to dash forward even. Hits it with the needlework. Scootin almost falls as well. Scootin uses flash. So did Klugi Chungus. Night Ravens just walks out of it using the ghost, and now Homura is here. The destiny is popped, and the one fallen is Gragas. Oh, it's such a disaster. His wave is pushing in as well. Homura and FYS on the counter gank again. Scootin looks for a play topside, and Klugi is the one losing out.
Yeah, I mean, great heads up. As soon as that paranoia was popped, the immediate instinct is to duck into that bush, buy yourself some extra time, and to get yourself to that tower, right? If you get caught out before that, he may not get pinned between that wall, that cast may be able to blow him deeper. And then the heads up from Night Raven to say, ooh, Homura's almost here. FYS has prio in the mid lane. We can make something else happen, and they executed it perfect.
That's the power of that destiny on Twisted Fate, right? And we love seeing him use it early here. And he actually even picked up the kill there. So 1 kill on the Gwen, 1 kill on the TF is going to make this side lane pressure that much stronger. It's the same thing we said last game. If you can get them ahead early, oh my god, they're going to be unstoppable in the side lanes with 3 grubs as well already, right? 3 grubs and a Drake, and the first 2 kills, up 1.5 gold at only 9 minutes. TMG off to a pretty strong start.
Yeah, absolutely. And, as we look towards these feats of warfare, obviously making a difference last game, they've got the first two neutral objectives, the first 2 kills, setting themselves up to be in a great position. Something I do want to point out, credit to Stone Cold, doing a much better job managing CS this game. Only down about 5 CS with that wave crash, less than a wave. Rafu is going to stay after he collects this wave, going to be lined up about 4 or 5 CS behind. But we do see Night Ravens taking that CS lead here on the bot side. Ooh, Dave might be looking a little caught out. Looks like they're not going to force anything too heavy here. Not understanding where that Scootin is, not having vision on him, and not wanting to get caught out by that paranoia. But the CS lead really has got to go to, we have some in the top side by Night Ravens and then some by Scootin, but the level leads have really evened out. I mean, those neutral objectives, those grubs, really able to kind of give back and catch up the XP.
Yeah, that did the trick for Homura's. You're absolutely right. He's still down a couple of camps, but he's back up in experience. Totally fine. Dragon gonna spawn in about a minute here. We'll see which team can get the bot prio first. There's maybe a couple of resets coming in from TMGD before the Dragon. Scoot resetting as well. Night Raven's just pushing in so hard on this top side. Seems kind of uncontestable. Up 1-0 and 1 to the 0 and 2. Gragas, he's up a level. He's just so strong in this top side. As Nocturne, wow, actually coming back out onto the map, pathing towards the top side. So maybe third time's the charm for Nocturne, right? Maybe can use this this second Paranoia cast to get back up here in the top lane and maybe finally shut down the Gwen. But if you do that, you're probably going to give Dragon, as actually we see all of the teams sort of coming out on the top side. Both the supports are up here as well. Seems like maybe the priority is on this second grub spawn over the second Dragon.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, what they do. Like I said, I'd be interested, Dragon spawning now. Are they just going to look and kind of shift their focus down towards this Dragon? But it looks like not, as we do see the top laner going bot side, and we do see Crushing Rock walking towards these grubs. So it does look like that is where the focus is going to be, and we're going to see if a fight breaks out here.
TMGD starting it up. They have the prio in the river so far, but Orianna here, Nocturne here as well. Gragas walking down. Night Ravens is still on the bot side. Rathu cannot join, but Night Ravens does have TP, so if Gwen pushes in the lane enough, she could join, make it a 4v5 in favor of TMGD, but we'll see. Scoot is starting up the grubs now as well, but forced to back off. Rakan going in. Oh, hits with the grand entrance, and the bullet time from Crushing Rock claims the feat of warfare. They're gonna claim the grubs as well. That's gonna be feats of strength to TMGD, assuming they get all of these. Gragas caught out again. 3-0 in kills for TMGD, and all 3 of those are Gragas.
Yeah, absolutely, and unfortunately, just Kluchung is just kind of catching a tough break here, and I think the upside here is Akuma does get to look at this bot side and then potentially be able to get this Dragon out. Probably not gonna be able to rotate fast enough on the side of the game here, but unfortunately with him losing out on that, we see that lead continue to balloon for Night Ravens. Obviously having that kill under itself, as well as a small CS lead, and I'm wondering at what point is Kluchung is not going to be able to neutralize this Gwen, right? At what point is Gwen just going to power through that and continue to put pressure on him? As Night Ravens sneaking on the other side, looking to proxy a wave here, and he does have Homura as backup, so not really going to be able to be contested there.
Yeah, it feels totally fine proxying this way because Jarvan is in the jungle. So see, Scootin pops the Paranoia, is down on the bot side actually, going in on the bot lane, or excuse me, on FYS, who's down there, but Scootin takes up the tower a little bit too much. Oh, but it's an execute. Didn't actually take any damage from TF. Rathu taken down to 56 HP, but gonna make it out alive. That's good. 1 for 0 in terms of actual kill gold for Akuma Sabers. A nice play. They're gonna get a couple of bot waves here. TMGD's gonna have to drop a couple of waves, but Night Raven's up here still pushing in, still gaining solo advantages in the top side. And Homura took away a decent, actually I think only took away the Raptors potentially. See the red buff, and Krug's respawning here for Scootin. So Nocturne gonna be pretty happy about that. Getting kill onto the Ezreal is quite nice, shutting down the TF early, as we're gonna get a bit of a replay on the bot side fight. Yeah, Solar Flare missed, but TF has flash, he uses it preemptively, trying to get to the tower. Oh, he was fleeing for too long, and if that Q had connected onto Scoot in there, he maybe would have got 1, maybe even 2 back, but not quite able to get it. This is out. A valiant effort from FYS, but sometimes nothing you can do against the point-and-click Nocturne ulti.
Yeah, absolutely, and the execute there being humongous as to making that a favorable trade, and I wonder if we can get a chance when the observers have time when we see this gold in the mid lane. Something I wanted to point out, and I forgot about the last time we had a TF in a game, is this passive gold that TF generates, and I think kind of underestimating, like, holy crap, TF is just magic. Yeah, look at it here. He's actually down in CS. He does have that kill gold, but he is up, 800 gold right now, and a lot of that is from that passive gold generation, kind of giving him that extra time and extra money to spend. And that's just going to continue to balloon as the game goes on. So definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, TF loading the dice so they fall in his favor. Climbing up the gold there, as we also see Gwen up the top side. Big gold lead over her opponent, not surprising, as we see 1-0-1 versus 0-3-0 on the top side. Gragas has been able to maintain CS a little bit, not down as much as, honestly, as much as you would expect, but Riftmaker is complete for Night Ravens up there. He can scrap around these fights. Herald will be spawning quite soon. Dragon not for 2 minutes or so, but we'll see if these teams want to contest the Herald up here. What we haven't been able to see so far from the Sabers is the Paranoia Shockwave combo from the mid jungle, right? We haven't seen it in these fights. They got to the grubs, but Orion and Nocturne were a little split up and they couldn't really use the combo. So I want to see them proactively looking for team fights with that combo and maybe trying to find a way back into the game. Oh, as you see the Destiny here popped in the top lane. The explosive cast takes FYS under the tower, and the Paranoia comes in as well. Kluki is not, heals up almost enough, but not quite. Gonna fall to the needlework. Scoot flashes out of the Cataclysm there. Again, this is 4 times now. Scootin has come top. Kluki has taken a fight, and he's died.
Yeah, it almost looked really disastrous there for TMGG, but I think the heads up by Night Ravens to be able to finish that kill, look onto Scootin, and just looking at the build at FYS, the extra health that he's getting from his Rod of Ages, he does have the boost of Swifties, so he's got a full commit to that. And then of course Scootin having to give up his flash for Homura's ultimate, that's going to be another timer that he's not going to get back as this dragon looks to spawn up.
Yeah, this is really just not what you want to see if you're Akuma Sabers. You pick this team fighting conflict. They're getting so behind in the side lanes already. Night Ravens level 12. So strong here on the Gwen. Homura and FYS have been everywhere, just stopping play after play from Akuma Sabers. They're trying their best as we see teams coming back out on the map towards this bot side. We'll see if they can get a second dragon here for Akuma Sabers. It'll be pretty big. We'll give them maybe a bit more of a win condition into this game, but the Herald has been picked up on the top side using that pressure from the Gwen. Homura picks up the Herald. We'll see if maybe they drop that to claim the dragon. Dragon's up in 30 seconds. Homura would need a reset to really contest it, but see what they want to do. Wow, actually immediately dropping the Herald in top lane for Night Ravens. I'm going to say, hey, I think with 6 grubs and a Herald, you can pick up this tower, you can get solo gold, but this Gwen even further ahead.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that'll be something they look to do here shortly, is obviously putting FYS and Night Ravens in the side lane and really, trying to put pressure on those towers. Looks like Night Ravens, like you said, using this Herald, really just committing to it themselves. That ultimate is up. We could see a potential solo kill here, and the Paranoia being activated. A little nervous here for Night Ravens. That is going to be on the bot side, though.
Yeah, but doesn't find anything. Rakan just kind of walks it out with the quickness. Paranoia pops, traded for the Rakan ultimate and the flash from Misfortune and ultimate as well. So is probably a worthwhile trade at the end of the day from Scootin. It will get them priority over the Dragon Pit. As we see, wow, Klugi actually teleported down here for that fight to help claim this dragon. So Night Ravens has free reign on the tier 2 up here with 6 grubs. The Herald is dead, but does a lot of damage. They're going to drop a lot of waves. Good rotation here from Stone Cold. Wow, she's shockwaving the wave, trying to see if he can maybe catch Night Ravens out, but I just don't think you're killing him yet. Gwen is immune, as always. You see the Destiny is popped, but I think it's on the bot side. Wow, Rathu takes down Mitsuki, but Scootin has fallen as well. Dea is so low. Double kill to FYS on the Twisted Fate. Crushing Guard doing so much work over here. 1v2ing the 80 carry in top lane. Blue team takes the Mountain Drink. Oh, it's a disaster for Akuma Sabers. They got the bot pressure, but they lost the team fight again as, Homura here forces the flash and shuts down the Ezreal. Catches it backing. FYS gonna push in this mid lane now as well. Everything is coming up TMG Death Knights.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a little bit of a lazy back there from Rathu. Just not having vision and respecting that. Just, Homura, a little scary right there. Stone Cold able to push him off. But yeah, I mean, disastrous for the side of Akuma Esports. I mean, Kluki Chungus giving everything. Yeah, gonna get this flash here too. Ooh, he shut down. Very good play. Like you said, Kluki Chungus just, kind of giving his TP and committing everything to that bot side play for it to still not go their way. As we discussed, a lot of the power is in this Paranoia Shockwave combo that we have yet to see executed from the side of Akuma Esports. And we showed it, that obviously we didn't have the Paranoia up, but they rotated the Shockwave top side. And obviously you have to catch that turret plate, but again, it gives you a lot less power as we do see, Stone Cold looking to finish off this second item, likely to be a Shadow Flame. That's where a lot of that team fighting power is going to come from, and if they're going to rotate Stone Cold away from that, I think they're going to struggle with these fights.
Yeah, but that's the issue with Gwen being as fed as she is, right? Somebody needs to answer her in every team fight, and it can no longer be the Gragas's. He's just not strong enough, Data. Going in over the wall with the Zenith Blade, but not going to find Mitsuki. That Rakan is nimble. He is able to escape, though. 7-2 now in favor of TMG. Death Knights up almost 5K at 20 minutes. 2 Dragons, 6 Rubs, 1 Herald, 2 Towers. They are just leading across the board in every stat. Bounties on every member except Rakan. Oof, that's a lead.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit over 5K here. And I think, you know, we're talking about this now is just Night Ravens. I mean, who answers it, right? Like you said, it's the Orianna can't do it. You know, the immunity that Gwen provides, you know, it makes Ezreal and Orianna difficult targets. And like you said, the Gragas is just behind to the point where he can't even really neutralize it anymore because of how behind he is. Ooh, Pookie Chung is able to take away a big part of that camp. Big time waster for Amura. Good way for them to get out as they do see Akuma Esports kind of collapsing on them on this top side. Good heads up there. But like we discussed, look at what they're doing. FYS pushing it on the spot side, starting to threaten a tier 2. You know, this is exactly what TMGD did in game 1, and they start to spread out Akuma Esports, and both their sidelers say, hey, we're emitting pressure. Make a choice. Right, make a choice here, and as they dawdle on these choices like we're seeing, looks like FYS might actually be able to get this full tower before he leaves. Huge.
That's a couple of side laners with a lot of attack speed and 6 grubs, right? That's what's going to happen is, like you said, if you're indecisive, if you're dawdling and making these decisions, or if you make the wrong decision, TMGD is just going to take some towers. They're going to get so much off of every objective. I really want to see Akuma commit to a team fight here now, right? I think they need to commit to trying to use the paranoia and the shockwave to just blow someone up, whether it's Crushing Rock or FYS in a team fight, and just try to get something on the other side, because they're not winning these contests, even when they're not taking the team fights, right? They're just getting run around the map. So see, now someone has to go top and answer Night Ravens. Gwen pushing into the tier 2 will claim it, if not answer. We see pretty much the entire team of Akuma Sabers moving up there now, actually. But FYS will just push in on the bot side, right? This is the problem. As, oh, here comes the paranoia. They're going to try to catch out Night Ravens, but Scootin actually loses vision there for a second. Does go in on it, but that's a level 12 Nocturne to a level 14 Gwen. That fight doesn't go the way you want. Night Raven's going to go back into the needlework, dashing in. Pops it. Oh, he defeats the shockwave. Flash in, and the Cataclysm is going to do so much work. Hamura just finds them all. So well played from Night Ravens. He immunes the ultimates perfectly. They get 2 kills for nothing. They're gonna get Otacon for 3. TMGD is stomping them in this game.
Absolutely. I think this is a couple of separate times. Unfortunate paranoia timing. Just Night Raven's able to scoot out of that vision and unable to be caught onto in time, allowing his team the time to rotate, as we do see this Otacon being taken down by the side of TMG.
Yeah, God, that's just so punishing. Every single time they go for a play on Gwen, it just turns around on them. Night Ravens has been playing so well on the top side. The Voracious Otacon will fall for TMGD. They all get that false life buff for the next, I believe, 2.5 minutes, which will be enough time for both this Drake and this Baron to spawn. They can use this Otacon buff, run straight to the Drake and contest it, and then run straight from the Drake to Baron if they want. This is going to be so huge for TMG Death Knights. Akuma Sabers may have already missed their chance to come back in this game. If they haven't, it needs to be now. They need a team fight win as soon as they can. They can give one more Drake. I don't think they can afford to give Baron.
I would tend to agree with you. I think Baron, with this side lane pressure that they have, is just absolutely disastrous. I mean, I think the game is over if you end up giving this Baron, as it looks to spawn here in about 45 seconds. And I think you're right. The window for Akuma Esports to realistically win this game is closing. It's closing very fast, and I think you're right. I think Scootin and Stone Cold need to get on the same page right now and find that pick.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, I think we're generous even in saying it's closing. It might just be closed. I think if TMGD plays this out cleanly, like, they should just win the game from here. They will still have Otacon when Baron spawns. They should be able to get Prio over it very easily. They're going to claim a completely uncontested Drake here. I like this from Akuma Sabers. They're giving the Drake. They're saying, hey, it's only 3rd Drake. You'll go to Soul Point, but we can live with that. We cannot let you get Baron. They're going to hopefully try and set up some vision around the Baron here. So see, Scootin is actually taking this time to invade the top side, but going to get found by Night Ravens, probably chased out of the jungle. See, taking a little bit low, should be able to escape. Gwen doesn't have a ton of chasing power without the Ghost up. Yep, Scootin gonna recall, but didn't really get much topside vision. They kind of just had to catch side waves this whole time, so that dragon's pretty free.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we're not careful, FYS gonna get the stun.
Hits the stun before EQ over the wall. Dodges the shockwave with the Cataclysm. Again, they don't find anything with the combo for Akuma Sabers. Scootin is in there, trying his best, but the more flashes out. Night Ravens is here, though. He's TP'd in. He's on a killing spree with the needlework going in. He picks up one. He picks up two. Rathu's in the back, popping some false lives, but the Gwen is just too strong. This doll came to play as Rathu now caught in the minion wave, not going to be able to escape the Gwen for much longer. He's kiting back, he's burning down. Night Raven's chasing him, doesn't have the ghost. This is a bit of an unfun chase. There it is, hits the Q. Crushing Rock wasn't even here. He took mid-tier 2 in this fight. They don't even need their AD carry to win fight completely. No kills to Akuma Sabers because they had Otacon that whole time. 4 for 0 with Otacons up. They took a tier 2 in the mid lane. They're gonna run straight towards this Baron, try to set up some vision.
Yeah, and take Otacon out of that. That's still so favorable. Yeah. I mean, you're not trading evenly, and you're taking a 5v4 while, like you say, Crushing Rock just took a tier 2, got a bunch of gold, sitting at 270 CS, going to get close to his third full item, likely to be an Infinity Edge from our side. And that was everything. I mean, that was probably your best shot there. And like you said, Otacon being involved, yeah, you get a little bit of gold from it now, but it's nothing compared to the shutdowns that it would have been, and the tempo that they lost, them getting right back out on the map.
Yeah, 11k gold lead for TMG Death Knights here now. This is probably getting to the point of insurmountable for Akuma Sabers. They're down levels in every single role, up 2 levels in AD carry, 2 levels in mid lane for TMGD. Chungus going in, trying to clear out these waves as best he can. Has the teleport if they want to contest, but look how far in they're pushing. As the Destiny is popped, they are on a killing spree. They have found Scootin in his own jungle. Nowhere is safe if you are this Nocturne. FYS will find you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just I don't know what else to say. I mean, at this point, I think we kind of stated it. I mean, FYS has done an incredible job of being very aware of the location of people and using that mobility of the TF to get around and make these picks, and TMG has executed their comp exactly how they wanted to. We said we have these 2 really strong side laners, and their ability to kind of create pressure and help us move around the map, and then they've done exactly that. And unfortunately, Akuma Sabers has had a real struggle responding.
Yeah, and there's just nowhere you can punish them, right? Time and time again, TMG Death Knights has proven that if you try to punish them in one lane, they are stronger than you. As Chungus tries to push in, but he has gone too far. FYS TP's in behind. Crushing Rock and Akuma here as well. Stunned up with the gold card. Love tapped to death. It is still happy hour, but not for Gragas. Crushing Rock picks up another kill. Dragon spawning in a minute 30. He will be back up in time for that, so kill won't amount to much objective-wise, but could amount to a good amount of side pressure for FYS here in the bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the speed boost you get off of the teleport there, just absolutely paramount. Obviously, Crushing Rock, passive speed, really no way out for Klugi Chungus. And I think at this point, the chat, Scootin broke his monitor with that death from FYS. Yeah, if you're Scootin, this has definitely been a very frustrating game for you. Just some poor timing on that vision. I mean, I think some great looks, just like I said, a little poor on the timing, and things haven't lined up the way you would expect them to. Ooh, looking here.
Trying to get, he flashes out. Crushing Rock with the timing. Gets him all the bullet time with the Cataclysm is gonna spell the end for Akuma Sabers. Their destiny is sealed by FYS and TMG Death Knights. 4 for 0 in the team fight. They finally tried to hit the Paranoia Shockwave combo, but Crushing Rock flashes it at the last second. They get caught in the Cataclysm, they get caught in the bullet time, and now their entire base is gonna fall. Klugi Chungus trying to put up a fight here, trying to defend against the pushing waves, but they've got Baron, they got 6 scrubs, there's nothing he can do. They're going to clean ace, then explosive cast, not quite enough. Crushing Rock picks up another, and that is an ace for TMG Death Knights. The game will go to them 2-0 in a decisive series win for our #1 seed.
Yeah, I mean, they just out executed both games. This game especially, they definitely executed this game at a much higher level. I got to give huge props. You know, there was a lot of speculation on FYS's performance coming, from the Immortal last split coming into this split, and I think he's shutting people up. I mean, I think FYS has had an incredible performance this split, this series alone, obviously on the Aurora and on the TF in this game. Night Ravens did exactly what we expect him to do. He picks one of these like skirmishing, fighting top laners. He creates a lead. He continues to balloon and push that lead. FYS and Night Ravens did both a great job of gathering and drawing pressure that allows the team to make it to the plays. And then the best part is Crushing Rock and Mitsuki also played very well. They ran that bot lane. They had incredible prio the entire time that allowed Hamura and FYS to move and do these things. And it's just a very well-rounded team. I think Hamura recognizes, like, hey, especially on Jarvis, like, I'm not playing for myself. I don't care if I'm going to be down 2 camps. I don't care if I'm going to be down a level. I'm going to move around the map. I'm going to cover Night Ravens. I'm going to get him ahead. I'm going to move with FYS. I'm going to create these openings for Crushing Rock. And they did exactly that. And it was an absolutely great performance from the side of TMGD. I do want to point out a couple of things for Akuma Esports. I mean, Scootin', there were definitely a couple of really good looks. I think especially on the Wukong in game 1, there was a couple of picks with the Cyclone, were some really great looks. I think obviously there's some timing errors with the Paranoia in this game. Very, very unfortunate. But I also say Stone Cold, looked like we had a much better game this game as far as in the laning phase against FYS, but as we got to the mid game, the decision seemed very disrupted. People weren't on the same page, and TMGD just took full advantage of that.
Yeah, you really cannot show weakness against TMGD, right? They are just so strong in every lane. I feel like we've said it a million times, but FYS and Night Ravens are just so good at pushing their advantages, using these side lanes, and Crushing Rock and Mitsuki are exactly that. They are a rock in the bot side. They never lose lane. Even when getting dove, even when getting behind a little bit because the attention is somewhere else, they're totally fine into the mid game. They play great in team fights, so consistent. If they're steamrolling Akuma like this, you have to think that TMGD is going to be the favorites to win it all this year.
Absolutely. I'm very excited to kind of see them, move into this playoff bracket, see, who are the winners coming out of the B and C groups. We have a couple of other really strong teams. So it'll be interesting to see, but yeah, now I would love to see, if you're a TMGD, obviously you want to continue to win, but locking in confirming this first seed, maybe you take the next couple of games is maybe we try some stuff. Maybe we look at what other options we get as we start exploring best of 5 fearless. Something to point out, winning 2-0, I think definitely benefits those teams that have a more shallow champion pool, right? They're not being pushed to this 3rd, 4th, and potentially even 5th games where their champion pool just continues to get smaller and smaller and smaller until, again, I think Akuma may have had the right idea. Look at Night Ravens. If you're able to afford to pinch that pool that much and get to a 3rd, 4th, or 5th game, what's he playing?
Sure.
What options does he have? Are they going to have to change their style? You're going to run out of effective fighters to have this kind of split pushing team comp. But that's a problem for another time. Again, a very decisive win for TMGD. I just very happy to kind of see this. We're maybe a little personal TMG D fan on my side. Akuma Esports though, still a great team in this league. Obviously, a crushing defeat today, but it's only 1 week. Still going to be 5-1 with this record. Still potential to be the 2nd seed, even going into playoffs from Group A. There's still a lot of time for them to kind of come back. I think there's probably going to be a lot of film watched from these games, a lot of review going on to kind of re-examine that. And I tend to I think they have the right read on the meta. I do like these kind of team comp style drafts. I think, unfortunately, they just got outplayed today.
Yeah, completely. I have to imagine Akuma Sabers will still be our 2 seed going into the playoffs from Group A. They're up against, in this last week, they're up against Excessive Sloth. We're down sort of towards the bottom of the ranking, so it should be probably a win for Akuma Sabers. They'll probably still be going in as the 2 seed, but man, TMGD, they are coming out actually at the end of this week as their only 6-0 team in all of Vanquisher League. I'm checking both Elysian and Half-Orc Barbarians have fallen to 5-1 this week. So TMGD, that's huge. Going into playoffs, probably, we'll see what happens next week, right? But going into playoffs, presumably as the number 1 seed, definitely the number 1 seed from this group, probably the number 1 seed overall. This team is so good, and they are doing it now so consistently, right? Over every week and every role, they're just outclassing people. And it's really, really awesome to see them rise.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited to see how these this playoffs start as they start to take shape. Kind of finishing off the league in these final weeks. So very excited to kind of get to some of those playoff games and start looking at best of 5 fearless.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Akuma Sabers, gonna go back to the drawing board, gonna try and refine the game plan, or at least refine execution of the game plan, as I think Leslie and I both think that the game plan was totally fine. We like your game plan. Just maybe let's try hitting the Nocturne Oriana combo before 25 minutes when our Nexus is falling. But I think that's going to be it for us over here at Titan Esports. I'm Mojo Powell. That's Leslie. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a good night.